Welcome back, everyone. How are you doing?
Doing alright.
Doing okay?
Yeah.
Good, good. Okay, so before we begin our session today, I just want to remind you guys about confidentiality. So you remember from our sessions before, I've talked about how everything we say is confidential. I'm not going to be telling anybody else. But I am also a mandated reporter, so what that means is that if you share with me that you are a harm to yourself or to others, I am mandated by law to report that, so I have to let you guys know that after every session. So how does that sound to you? Good? Okay. So last time we met, we were talking about kind of what brought you here and some goals that we had. So we had talked about your relationship. You were having some marriage issues, some family issues, finance issues. So we made some goals from that. We talked about how we wanted to lower stress levels in the house. That was our main goal. So I gave you guys a couple of action steps last week, and I wanted to see how that went. So one of them was that you're going to try to have a affordable, easy date night to spend time with each other, work on your relationship. So how did that go?
It was really good. We went on a hot dog date. So we just went to the gas station, got hot dogs and slushies, and just sat on the car and talked for a little bit.
That's great. So how do you think that affected your relationship? Did it improve your stress levels? Do you feel closer to each other?
I think it helped a little, like we were able to like talk about our day. I feel like sometimes we don't really take time to talk about our day. We just kind of keep going through the motions and just sit down, eat, and just kind of, go about our lives after. So I think it was nice to actually like sit down and have a conversation. It's been a while since we actually communicated like that.
That's great. I'm really glad to hear that. Okay.
Yeah.
So it seemed like that helped a little. So another thing we talked about was your finances. Tori, you had talked about how you were currently unemployed, you're looking for work, and one of those goals that we identified last week as well was you wanted to try to apply to at least 5 jobs before this session. So that was quite a high goal that we had in mind, but how did that go?
Pretty good. I also went through the Workforce Solutions, so they're helping me with like job training as well. So that's been pretty good, and they've been trying to help me find some jobs. So I have an interview set up for like Thursday at 1, so hopefully it goes good.
That's great. That's good. That's good. Okay, how are things with the family? We talked about how you had a son. You were having some difficulties connecting with him. You were saying that he hasn't been really present in the house lately. How that's been causing some stress. So how are things with your son?
Well, we tried. We set up, one of the days last week, we set up a whole, we asked him what movie he wanted to watch, and we made his favorite dinner, and we tried to get him to sit there, but he just didn't come home until, till late, and so we didn't even get to sit and watch the movie, so. And he seemed excited for it, and we were telling him about it in the morning before he left for school, but then he said he just didn't come home until after, and we were calling and stuff, but he was just out with friends, so.
Okay, that's good to know. So, is there anything that we feel we can do differently next time, or is this maybe a situation we feel is out of our hands?
I mean, we are trying, and he's a teenager, we do have to understand that aspect as well, but we are also his parents, so he also needs to learn to respect us, and I think that's been our clash, we want him to be independent, but at the same time we want him to listen to us, and we just want to keep him safe. But I don't know, I feel like maybe we could have a sit down talk with him, an actual conversation as we did with our date, maybe have set up an actual time, even if it's late at night when he's coming home, we can still have that conversation.
That sounds like a great idea. What do you think about that, Erin?
Yeah, I really like it. I wanted to like try to see if he'll just. I wanted to like try easily to see if he'll just at least sit with us, but we need to resort to like actually sitting down and have a serious talk. I think that's a good next step. So.
Right. Okay. That sounds like a good idea. So before our next session, let's make that a goal. We'll see if we can have a sit down conversation with your son. We can talk about maybe boundaries, respect for one another, and your relationship as a whole. And we'll see how that goes. We'll see if that makes a little bit of a difference. But it sounds like overall things have been a little bit better since we first started meeting together. I remember when we first met, you were saying how on a scale of 1 to 10, the two of you, your stress level averaged out to about an 8. So how would you say your stress level is now on a scale of 1 to 10?
I guess like a 6.
A 6? Okay,
Yeah.
that's an improvement.
Yeah, it felt a little like it was the same, but after we like sat and talked, I was like, oh, stuff is kind of maybe just a little better, like small stepping stones. So really put it in perspective. So yeah, about a 6.
About a 6. Okay, so we're making some improvement, but I'm hearing a little bit of there's something we could be doing more.
Yeah.
So is there anything else that you think would continue to push those stress levels down?
I think just like for me, like once I'm able to like get a secure job, so hopefully that interview has potential to it. I think right now it's just like the stress of money, and also like our son, just trying to keep that balance and kind of maintain the house. It's kind of a lot, so it's just, I think once that kind of flows, it'll be okay for me on my end.
And it sounds like we're making progress with that. You have, you've been following through with those goals. And you also took the initiative to go to the workforce agency, which definitely shows your motivation, your willingness to improve and to work on this. So even if this interview doesn't pan out, we can still keep applying to those jobs and working with that agency. And you can let me know if you require any assistance from me in that area of looking for places to apply, or if you need assistance with the applications. That's certainly something we can work with as well. But I think your motivation definitely means we're on the right track with this. Okay, so at the beginning of our time working together, we said we were going to meet for once a month for 5 months. And I think we've made a lot of progress so far since we started. We're coming up on the end of those 5 months. We have another session after this. We're gonna keep evaluating how you're doing and if there's anything that we need to change. So far it doesn't seem like there's too much we're gonna need to adapt to, except for having that conversation with your son. And depending on how that goes, we'll see if there's anything else we can be doing differently. So I might be able to direct you to some parenting resources. There might be a class you guys can take, or like some reading materials, things like that I can direct you to. But we'll see how that goes in the next session. So before we end our session today, was there anything else that you guys wanted to talk about? Anything that you feel that I left out today?
Is there anything that you're feeling
Pretty much addressed.
That's good. Okay, how are you guys feeling overall about your progress?
I think like the date night was nice, like, cause I know like usually there's like that stereotypical like idea that dates have to be like really fancy, like you gotta get just a photo expensive dinner. But just eating hot dogs and drinking slushies in a car and having a conversation is like good enough, and just being able to just communicate it was, helpful. So I think that was like a good idea to like at least try like the affordable date. So since we are struggling, you know, like we're trying. So
Absolutely. And I definitely hope you guys continue to do that next week. Just like you have motivation in this job finding endeavor, you know, you seem to have a lot of motivation to make this relationship work, which is really important. So I hope you guys go on another affordable date night next week. We'll continue working on that relationship, and hopefully it can bring you guys closer, like you were saying. So that sounds great. I see a lot of potential for this to continue moving forward.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think there's anything else we need to cover in the session, so I will see you again in a month. So is there any other final thoughts before we conclude?
No.
Okay. Well, thank you guys for coming today.
Thank you.